I was always timid as a child, and I would agree with anyone who spoke to me. Even if someone told me the earth was square, I would say it's entirely possible. It wasn't until later that I discovered I had a personality disorder. When I was brought back to the wealthy family, the fake heiress tearfully offered to give me her room. I've taken on my sister's identity, so this room should belong to her. I'll just stay in the guest room. I nodded in agreement. Indeed, as a guest. You are not part of our family and should stay in the guest room. The fake heiress turned pale and looked on the verge of collapse. Brother pointed at my nose and scolded furiously. I only recognize Yaya as my sister. I nodded. Indeed, after all, a family with multiple children is not as good as a family with only one child. I always tell people I'm an only child when I go out. Brother became so enraged that he fainted from anger. I was stunned for a long time. Was it wrong to go along with what they said in this house? My brother clutched his chest and passed out from anger. Gu Mingyue cried out for her brother. The loud noise attracted my adoptive parents, Gu Dad and Gu Mom, who had brought me home. They hurried over, asking us, what happened? Why did Chaoyang faint? Gu Mingyue wiped her tears, shrinking her neck and choking out. It's because, sister, she hesitated, as if Gu Chaoyang had been knocked unconscious by me. Gu's parents cast unkind glances in my direction, and I nodded. Indeed, because my brother told me he only had Yaya as a sister, I said I would go out and claim to be an only child, and then he fainted. In my adoptive parents' home, I was indeed an only child. That's correct. Gu Mingyue continued to shed tears without speaking, only trembling as she clung to her brother, under her mother's comfort. She quickly glanced at me, looking utterly defeated and wronged. It was sister. Sister blamed me for taking her family away and wanted to hurt me. Brother shielded me, and that's how it turned out. Isn't this just outright twisting black into white? Guma looked at the pitiful sight of the two of them and pointed at me, heartbroken. You just came back and you're already bullying your brother and sister. How could I have a daughter like you? I nodded and continued along with her words. Indeed, after all, I'm newly found. And it's possible that I could bully Gu Mingyue and Gu Chaoyang, but there are surveillance cameras at home, so we can just check them. I may not necessarily be your daughter. After all, paternity tests can also be wrong. For safety's sake, Gu Mingyue, Gu Chaoyang, I can all do another paternity test with you. What if none of us three are actually related? After all, who knows if mom and dad have been sneaking around, right? These two sentences effectively silenced Gu's mother, leaving her so angry she couldn't speak, and she quickly tried to calm herself down. Even the usually stern and old-fashioned father Gu was somewhat triggered. What nonsense are you talking? However, Gu Mingyue caught the key point. Wasn't the surveillance here broken? I'm a bit confused. It was indeed broken, but I fixed it yesterday. I've been timid since childhood, never causing trouble, always going along with whatever others say. But for some reason, there are always people who want to beat me up. To prevent being bullied, I installed many surveillance cameras at home. When others want to hit me, I just pull up the surveillance footage, and they immediately drop their fists. So the first thing I did when I returned home was to have someone check the surveillance at the Gu residence, and I installed cameras throughout the entire house, 360-degree coverage with no blind spots. Mr. and Mrs. Gu were a bit puzzled when they saw me having people install the cameras, but after learning that I had been beaten as a child, which left me with psychological trauma, they felt sorry for me and allowed me to install them. At that time, Gu Mingyue was out shopping, so she had no idea at all. I casually pulled up the surveillance footage, turned the volume up to the maximum, and played it in front of Gu's parents. Gu Mingyue's hypocritical remarks in the room and Gu Chaoyang's mocking of me as a country bumpkin slapped their parents in the face. I dragged and zoomed in on the surveillance footage, highlighting Gu Mingyue's sarcasm and Gu Chaoyang's dismissiveness. Gu's parents felt a bit awkward, and Mrs. Gu cleared her throat. This matter was handled poorly by Chaoyang and Mingyue. I will educate them. But you, child, why didn't you explain yourself to us when you knew you were wronged? I was speechless and dragged the surveillance video progress bar forward. My voice of explanation rang out, and Gu became even more embarrassed, her entire face turning slightly red. Seeing that they hadn't spoken for a long time, I knew this meant they intended to let the matter pass lightly. Waving the paternity test appointment interface on my phone, I expressed my confusion. I've already scheduled the paternity test. Do you want to go through with it? Mom forced a faint smile. That won't be necessary. I tilted my head, somewhat puzzled. You should still do it. just in case my brother was also switched at birth. After all, we're twins, and it's not impossible for two children to be swapped at once, and mom and dad, look, I resemble my sister more, but I don't look like my brother. It's so strange, Gu Chaoyang and I are twins, so as siblings, we should naturally look alike. But after I returned home, I realized that Gu Chaoyang doesn't look like me at all. On the contrary, Gu Mingyue and I are extremely similar. This is quite intriguing. Hearing my words, Gu's mother unconsciously nodded. Gu's father harshly interrupted me, somewhat flustered and exasperated. Enough. Have you made enough of a scene? I'll have Chaoyang and Mingyue apologize to you. Alright, they were wrong, but you don't need to be so aggressive. Look at the state you're in now. What kind of appearance is that, Mingyue? Apologize to your sister. Gu Mingyue was scolded by her father, which was a first for her, and her eyes instantly welled up with tears. She glared at me with reddened eyes, full of resentment. I'm sorry, are you satisfied now? After saying that, she ran off crying, and while running, she didn't watch her way and accidentally stepped on Gu Chaoyang. I clearly saw Gu Chaoyang's face contort for a moment before returning to calm, not uttering a word. He was pretending to faint, seeing Gu Mingyue run off crying. Gu's mother quickly chased after her to comfort her. Gu's father called for someone to carry Gu Chaoyang back to the room, then walked away without even glancing at me. The matter of the paternity test was left unresolved. Humming a tune, I headed toward Gu Mingyue's room. Her door was ajar, and the sound of Gu's mother comforting her drifted out. Yeah, don't cry, even if you're not. In my heart, you will always be my daughter. Gu Mingyue's voice was hoarse. What about my sister? Gu's mother was taken aback for a moment, but still answered honestly, she is also my daughter. You two should get along harmoniously, understand? You see, you wronged your sister in front of us today, and she didn't even hold it against you, right? Mom thinks she's not as bad-tempered or as much of a bully as Chaoyang said. It was clear that Gu Mingyue didn't want to hear that. She cried even louder. I knocked on the door of the room and asked, may I come in? Gu Mingyue's sobbing paused like a little robot, and she didn't say a word. I didn't care whether they would let me in or not, and pushed the door open to enter. Gu Mingyue, with eyes red as walnuts, glared at me. What are you doing here? Come and rest. Didn't you give the room to me? Now this is my room. Gu Mingyue grew even angrier. She hadn't expected that her sarcastic remark would be taken seriously by me. Mother Gu quickly stepped in to smooth things over. Oh, Xiaoyu, Yaya was just joking. She's been living in this room for a long time, and it wouldn't be appropriate to move her now. She looked at me cautiously and said, perhaps you should take a look at the other rooms. I examined Gu Mingyue's room. The large dressing table was not filled with skincare products but rather piled with grains. On the bed lay a group of small cotton dolls. It's clearly been thoughtfully arranged. I raised an eyebrow, patted Aunt Gu on the shoulder, and said to her, indeed, my sister is used to her room, so it wouldn't be appropriate for her to move out. In that case, I'll take my brother's room. Aunt Gu froze on the spot, stammering as she spoke to me. The room facing east isn't suitable either. How about staying in the guest room? I nodded to Aunt Gu. Indeed, my brother's room isn't suitable either. As a boy, his things are messy, and it wouldn't be comfortable to stay there. But the bed in the guest room is too hard. I can't sleep on it. How about I squeeze in with my sister? I can move out tomorrow after we change the mattress. Gu Mingyue heard that I was actually going to sleep with her and immediately exclaimed, no, but Aunt Gu thought it was a great idea. Having the two sisters sleep in the same room could also help strengthen their bond, so she made the decision on the spot. Gu Mingyue's tearful protests were of no use. In a fit of anger, she grabbed her pillow and went to the guest room. I collected the hair I had just taken from Aunt Gu. Looking around Gu Mingyue's room, I casually placed another surveillance camera, just in case. I rummaged through the dressing table and found her hair on her comb. If things are really as I suspect, then the Gu family is in for quite the show. Early the next morning, before I was even fully awake, the door was being pounded on with a deafening noise, staring with a face full of morning grumpiness. I opened the door with a dark expression. Knock, knock, knock. What are you knocking for? Are you not going to survive today, making such a racket? Gu Chaoyang, who had come with Gu Mingyue to demand justice, was startled by my outburst. Immediately, he flew into a rage and raised his hand to slap me across the face. How can you be so shameless, actually taking over Yaya's room? I directly grabbed his hand. After studying martial arts for so many years, It would be truly pathetic if I couldn't even handle Gu Chaoyang. I thought it was something serious, but it's about this again. Being forced to wake up early was already annoying, so I gave him a slap in passing. Stop yelling, it's so noisy. If you don't want to give up the room, don't say things like that. If you do give it up, just shut up quietly. I'm really annoyed right now. If you keep bothering me, I'll beat you so badly even your own mother won't recognize you. Get out of here. Gu Mingyue gasped in shock when she saw me hit Gu Chaoyang. Gu Xiaoyu, have you lost your mind? How dare you hit your brother? Gu Chaoyang has a heart condition and cannot handle any stress. He has been the family's treasure since childhood. Even Gu Mingyue, this sister, has to take care of this good brother. I raised an eyebrow, looking at Gu Chaoyang with a palm print on his face. Oh, are you my real brother? His expression immediately changed, mixed with a hint of panic, eventually settling into a rage, as he bared his teeth at me. How am I not your brother? No matter what you say, it won't change the fact that I'm your brother, I sneered, my tone dripping with mockery. Oh really, aren't you only recognizing Yaya as your sister? What kind of brother do you think you are to me? Gu Chaoyang visibly relaxed. I didn't want to deal with them anymore, so I closed the door and left only one sentence. If you make another sound, I'll cut your tongue out. When I finally woke up after a struggle, I opened the door to an unexpectedly quiet house. I thought the older ones would come after the younger ones, but there was no movement at all. Asked the nanny at home. The family of 4 went shopping for gifts for the Goose siblings' birthday party in 2 days. The 4 of them were harmonious and happy, completely forgetting about me. The nanny looked at me with pity in her eyes. After all, who in this family is more pitiful than me? With everyone revolving around the fake sister, leaving me home alone. But that's fine, as I have my own things to do today as well. They're not home, which is perfect. I took the collected hair strands to the paternity testing agency, handing my hair over to the institution. I quietly waited outside for the results. The messages on my phone kept chiming, and upon opening it, I saw a message from Gu Mingyue. Humph. Mom and Dad love me the most. This is a gift prepared for me. Even without blood ties, I'm still the most pampered child in the family. Deep concern about Gu Mingyue's intelligence arose as I read the message. Sending a threatening text directly from a personal number seems like a sign of low intelligence. She quickly sent me a picture of a handbag. Of course, if you don't compete with me for Mom and Dad's affection, I'll buy this bag for you. I glanced at the bag, a $50,000 one. Gu Mingyue gets a $30,000 monthly allowance, so she'd have to save for 2 months to buy this bag. I didn't reply to her and instead forwarded the chat screenshot to Gu's parents. Gu's dad didn't say a word but transferred $1 million to my account. Gu's mom did speak up, continuing to explain. Xiaoyu, don't be mad. Yaya is like this. She has a tough mouth but a soft heart. I didn't call you to go out today because Chaoyang said when he came to find you in the morning, you didn't sleep well, so I just wanted you to rest at home. I'm sorry, I bought you a gift. Next time, I will definitely ask for your opinion. Then, Auntie Gu also transferred me $1 million. A screenshot earned me $2 million. It was really worth it. I glanced at the freshly printed medical report in my hand, feeling that I should give my family an even bigger surprise. But as soon as I got home, I heard Gu Mingyue's sharp sobs. As soon as I stepped into the house, a handbag came flying towards me. I quickly dodged. Gu Mingyue yelled at me at the top of her lungs. Gu Xiaoyu, if you don't like me, you can just say so directly. What did you do to ruin my grain? That was a misprint, and there's only one copy. And I even bought you a bag as a gift. She cried herself hoarse, utterly heartbroken. Far more genuine than when Gu Chaoyang had fainted. Gu Chaoyang fanned the flames beside her. Mom, Dad, I told you, she's just a bad seed, corrupted, just because we didn't take her out to buy a gift. She's so jealous she wants to destroy her sister's most cherished toy. She shouldn't have come back. Gu Ma's face was also filled with disappointment. Xiaoyu, Mom told you, if there's anything you want, you can tell Mom. Why did you have to destroy the thing your sister loves the most? Gu's father went even further and handed over a card directly. Gu Xiaoyu, you've caused chaos in the house the moment you returned. For the sake of family harmony, you should move out. This is kicking me out. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw Gu Chaoyang's mouth struggling to suppress a smile. Laugh, laugh. Just wait until I see if you can still laugh after this. I took a deep breath and shouted, silence, listen to me. Gu Mingyue stopped crying at once, letting out a hiccup. The entire house fell silent. I took a deep breath and continued, Indeed, I might have damaged Gu Mingyue's belongings, but I didn't damage her things. Gu Chaoyang couldn't hold back any longer. He let out a cold laugh. You say it's not, so it's not, in our family. Who has the motive to break Mingyue's things? I smiled sweetly at him. Of course, it's my dear brother. You? I spoke incorrectly. You don't seem to be my brother. Gu Yang's expression changed instantly. What do you mean? I handed out photocopies of the paternity test report one by one to my family members. Come on, everyone, take a look. I just got this tested today. It's still fresh. When Gu Yang saw the test report, his face turned pale, and he fainted, closing his eyes. I quickly rushed over to catch him, my fingers digging firmly into the flesh at his waist, forcing him to stop pretending. He had no choice but to open his eyes and stand up again. Gu's mother was still in shock and didn't notice our little maneuver. Gu Mingyue stood there with her mouth agape, too stunned to even shed a tear, her voice cracking in disbelief. I wasn't switched at birth. I'm my parents' biological child. Dad tightly gripped the identification report. This doesn't prove anything. Paternity test results can be falsified. The paternity test report I distributed shows that both I and Gu Mingyue are my mother's daughters. It was clear that the mix-up wasn't between me and Gu Mingyue, but between me and Gu Chaoyang. It wasn't a case of true and false heiresses, but of a true heiress and a false young master. I smiled and nodded to Father Gu. Indeed, paternity test reports can be falsified. If you don't believe it, we can all go and get retested as a family. No, Gu Ba and Gu Chaoyang spoke simultaneously. Seeing their overly intense reactions, Gu Ma was even more confused. Gu Ba, being older and more experienced, quickly caught on and forced a smile at me. Xiaoyu, Dad doesn't mean you're fabricating things. Dad believes this paternity test is real, and it's Chaoyang who was switched at birth. It was a misunderstanding on our part, but that doesn't mean Mingyue's things were damaged by Chaoyang. Do you understand what I'm saying? I nodded. Indeed, I understand what you're saying, but I have evidence. Gu Ba's smile froze on his face. I asked the nanny to bring me a projector and displayed the surveillance footage I had installed in Gu Mingyue's room. Please watch the VCR. In the video, Gu Chaoyang sneaked into Gu Mingyue's room and damaged her most cherished misprinted merchandise. After confirming that the item in his hand was broken, he sneaked out, completely unaware of the new surveillance camera I had installed. The timing was just after they returned and before I did. Gu Chaoyang was truly about to be driven mad with anger this time. He clutched his chest, unable to believe his eyes as he stared at me. You actually installed surveillance in Gu Mingyue's room. I rolled my eyes, utterly speechless. Didn't I say it already? To prevent being beaten, I'll install surveillance in the place where I'm staying. Gu Mingyue glared fiercely at Gu Chaoyang with her swollen eyes. Brother, why did you do this? Seeing that things were going awry, Father Gu quickly tried to smooth things over. Yeah, Chaoyang must have a reason for doing this. He has always loved you so much since you were young. Just now, Dad Gu didn't have this attitude towards me. I asked him with some confusion. Dad, you just told me to move out, but now you're saying brother has a reason, showing such obvious favoritism. Is that right? I wouldn't be surprised if Gu Chaoyang was your real son and I was the one who was switched at birth. Hearing the words, real son, Father Gu shot me a fierce glare but still explained, Chaoyang and Ye have been siblings for so many years. He probably didn't mean it on purpose. I nodded, as if accepting this explanation. It was evident that Gu Mingyue couldn't accept it, and she confronted Gu Chaoyang. Then why did you say it was your sister who broke it? Gu Chaoyang stammered for a long time, only able to give a dry explanation, because she took your room. And I wanted to help you get her out. This statement, even the naive Gu Mingyue couldn't believe. Clearly, it was his own mistake, yet he tried to shift the blame onto others. Clearly, it was for his own sake, yet he still sought excuses and tried to pass the buck. Gu Mingyue looked at Gu Chaoyang with disappointment, saying nothing. Once again, it was Gu's father who stepped in to smooth things over. Don't be mad, yeah. When your birthday comes, Dad will buy you the necklace you've always wanted, as an apology gift from your brother. Okay, Gu Mingyue glanced at me and asked Dad, what about sister? Since brother wronged sister, what should we do about it? Before Dad could speak, Mom chimed in first, then transfer the 5% of Chaoyang's shares meant for Chaoyang to Xiaoyu as an apology. Gu Mingyue also nodded along. I'll give my share to my sister as compensation for wronging her. Gu's father was extremely shocked and abruptly looked up at Gu's mother. Yoonji, didn't we previously agree to give Chaoyang 5% of the shares to let him join the company and help me? Now, Gu's mother interrupted Gu's father, but Chaoyang damaged things and tried to frame his sister. That's not something a responsible older brother should do. I think the matter of joining the company can be reconsidered. Gu Chaoyang's eyes turned red with hatred. And it seemed like Gu's father also had something to say, but under Gu's mother's insistence, he reluctantly kept his mouth shut. I lowered my eyes, thinking that this mother of mine wasn't as naive as I had imagined. The day before the birthday banquet, there was a knock on my door. Opening the door, it was my sweet but naive mother, Gu. She looked at me calmly. Xiaoyu, can I come in? I nodded, of course. After closing the door, she took a deep breath and asked me, Xiaoyu, besides the paternity test report you showed us last time, do you have anything else? I shook my head and said to Gu Ma, no. Gu Ba and Gu Chaoyang are extremely cautious. Not a single hair could be found in their room. The hair used for the last paternity test with Gu's mother was casually pulled out when I hit him. But in such a large household, the more cautious one is, the more it reveals the issue. Gu's mother sighed and handed me a document, which contained the paternity test report for our entire family. The paternity test results showed that both I and Gu Mingyue are the daughters of Gu's father and mother. Gu Chaoyang and Gu's mother are not biologically related, but he is the son of Gu's father. The truth is about to be revealed. Gu's mother handed me another document, which was a stock transfer agreement. In the agreement, Gu's mother transferred all her shares to me. As long as I sign, these shares will all be mine. I raised an eyebrow. Are you that confident in me? Aren't you afraid I'm here to scam you too? Gu's mother looked at me calmly. I've conducted a comprehensive investigation on you, and you are indeed my daughter. Under her narration, I gradually understood why she wanted to transfer the shares to me. Gu Ma's original name was Gu Yoonji, and she was the heir of the Gu family, being a daughter born late in her parents' life. She was pampered and couldn't endure the hardships of working. Gu Leoi pondered for a long time, trying to find a capable man to take care of her, and Gu's father was the son-in-law chosen by Gu Leoi for her. His original name was Wang Jiangwo, but to show his loyalty to Gu's mother, he specially changed his surname to Gu. But how could a son-in-law be truly willing? Moreover, Gu Leoi was wary of him, only allowing him to manage the company on behalf of the family, with no shares allocated to him at all. Although Gu's mother was a bit naive and sweet when she was young, being from a wealthy family, there weren't many who were overly romantic-minded. Although she loved Gu's father, she also knew that money was most reliable in her own hands. Gu's father didn't hold any shares, but when it came to money, Gu's mother didn't shortchange him at all. He quickly supported his childhood sweetheart, and from then on, he had 2 homes. Gu's mother and father both kept women outside the home, and their pregnancies occurred around the same time. The ultrasound showed that the woman was carrying a boy, and he immediately had a devious idea. He directly arranged for the woman outside to stay in the room next to Gu's mother's ward. He bribed the doctor, planning to switch one of the daughters with his son after both women gave birth. As soon as Gu's mother woke up, Gu's father brought 2 children to her bedside, and I, the unlucky one chosen to be replaced, was casually discarded by the woman outside and sent to an orphanage. After Gu Chaoyang was born, his heart was not in good condition, and Gu's mother thought it was because the twin sister absorbed the nutrients meant for the brother, so she always treated him well, and coupled with Gu Jiangwo often telling her in front of her that boys should be raised in poverty while girls should be raised in wealth. Thus, Gu Mingyue was raised to be innocent and naive, while Gu Chaoyang was groomed to be the heir from a young age. Once Gu Chaoyang inherits the company, takes over the shares, and changes the surname, the Gu family's company will become the property of the Wang father and son. Their plans were well laid, but they didn't account for the fact that I could still be found. Finding me was purely an accident. I looked so much like my grandmother that she couldn't help but suspect I might have been switched at birth. After a paternity test confirmed that I was their child, under Gu Jiangwo's suggestion, she subconsciously assumed that the child who was switched was a girl, until the previous few times when I had them take a paternity test together. Gu Jiangwo and Gu Chaoyang refused, which immediately raised Gu's mother's suspicions. She secretly investigated everything. Gu Mingyue had lived with Gu Jiangwo and Gu Chaoyang for too long and was too easily deceived. The shares couldn't be passed on to her. Gu's mother investigated me and felt that I had been well raised by my foster parents. She planned to announce me as the heir on the day of the birthday banquet, to prevent any accidents. After I signed the agreement, we went to notarize it together, something offered on a silver platter. Why not take it? I signed without hesitation. On the day of the birthday banquet, my mother sent over a beautiful dress, while Gu Mingyue gave me a set of exquisite jewelry. She seemed a bit awkward as she apologized to me. I'm sorry, sister, this is a gift for you. I patted her head. Sister forgives you. The silly child was just used as a pawn. I followed them into the banquet hall. Gu Mingyue took my hand and introduced me to her girlfriends. Gu Chaoyang went to join his brothers. Before long, a man blocked my path. I looked up and saw a man dressed in luxurious attire, with an extremely ordinary appearance. He glared at me and warned, "So you're the real heiress. Don't even think about taking anything away from Yaya." He glanced me up and down, sneering, "You country bumpkin, no chest, no hips, not even half as sweet and charming as Yaya." "Oh, I get it," a suitor of Gu Mingyue. Seeing that he was about to continue his self-righteousness, I quickly interrupted him. "Indeed, I may not be as sweet as Mingyue, but the two of us are not something you, a toad, can even dream of. If you don't have a mirror, you must have urine. So take a look at yourself before coming to me to rant. Gushin man, you're really full of yourself, with that face of yours. Who could possibly find you attractive?" With just a few words, I managed to make the man in front of me flush with anger. He reached out as if to hit me. Before he could swing his hand, he was knocked aside by Gu Mingyue like a small cannonball. "Yiyu, what do you want to do to my sister?" Seeing Gu Mingyue arrive, Gu Chaoyang quickly walked over. Yeah. How are you talking to Brother Yi? Apologize quickly." Gu Mingyue gave Gu Chaoyang a cold look and spoke to him sarcastically for the first time. "Why did I talk to him, brother? Didn't you see that he wanted to hit sister just now?" Gu Xiaoyang pretended to be helpless as he spoke to Gu Mingyue. "Yi Gu is also doing it for your own good, worrying about you." When Yi heard his good friend speaking up for him, his anger flared up instantly. "Exactly, you're not of the Gu family bloodline, and I was worried she might bully you, so I came to warn her, but now it's my fault. Gu Mingyue, you have no heart." Hearing the string of words, Gu Mingyue was a bit confused. "Wait, who told you I'm not of the Gu family bloodline?" Gu Chaoyang averted his eyes guiltily. I interrupted the two who were in a standoff. "Wait, I have something to show you." I went upstairs and brought down the paternity test report. Handing it to Yiyu, "Here, open your dog eyes and take a good look. Both Mingyue and I are Gu family members." As for Gu Chaoyang, before I could finish, Gu Chaoyang tore the appraisal report in my hand to shreds. With just that one move, it was clear who was real and who was fake. Yiyu didn't even glance at Gu Chaoyang, who was trying to explain, and walked away directly. Beside me, Gu Mingyue's eyes sparkled with admiration as she looked at me. "Sister, you're so amazing. Is that amazing?" Gu Mingyue pouted and complained to me. "Actually, I really hate that Yiyu, his gaze is so disgusting. My brother even said before that I'm not part of the Gu family, and mom and dad won't love me anymore, so I might as well try to get on Yiyu's good side. But he's super gross. Last time, he even touched a waitress's butt." I tapped Yi Mingyue on the head. "Silly child, your brother is using you to curry favor. Men, having been raised as heirs since childhood, naturally look down on daughters who are to be married off for alliances. It's not uncommon in this circle to see people using their own sisters as convenient tools for favors. However, after today, they should know who the true heir of the Gu family is." Gu Chaoyang went to appease Yiyu and didn't have time to cause trouble. I followed Gu Mingyue, ready to follow her on stage. The lights flickered, and Gu's mother stood on the stage to announce, "Today, I have invited everyone here to celebrate my daughter's birthdays." The word daughters was cleverly chosen, and everyone present could immediately understand that this excluded Gu Xiaoyang. When considering the rumors circulating outside about the Gu family's true and false daughters, it became clear at once who the false one was. Gu Ba noticed that Gu Ma's words were completely inconsistent with the speech draft. He tugged at Gu Ma, ignoring him. Gu Ma continued to announce that she would be giving her shares to me and that I would be the heir to the Gu Corporation. Down below, the crowd began to murmur. Countless gazes fell upon me, two of which were the most venomous. I didn't need to guess to know they were Gu Ba and Gu Xiaoyang. They could endure it, not directly losing their temper at the birthday banquet. After seeing off the guests, Gu Ba, still wearing a fake smile, immediately changed his expression. He had been coaxing Gu's mother for so many years, strict outside but never harsh with her at home. He clenched his teeth and glared, demanding, Gu Yunji, what exactly are you trying to do? Didn't we agree that Zhao Yang would be the heir? Gu Zhaoyang also looked like he was struggling to breathe, tears streaming down his face as he cried, Mom, why are you treating me like this? Is it just because I'm not your biological son? Gu Dad quickly tried to calm Gu Zhaoyang down, Yunji. We've raised Xiaoyang for so long, he's more like a real son than a biological one. How could you treat him like this? It's so hurtful to the child. Gu Ma looked at them calmly. How long do you intend to keep up this act? Gu Ba and Gu Zhaoyang were stunned. What are you saying? Gu Ma, trembling in voice, looked at their pretentious expressions. I said, how long do you plan to deceive me? Gu Zhaoyang isn't my son, you've known that for a long time. You are the one who switched him yourself. Gu's father still tried to play dumb. Yunji, who told you that? Zhaoyang was just switched by mistake. He glared at me fiercely. Was it Gu Xiaoyu who said it? She spent so long in the orphanage. Lying is as easy for her as drinking water. Gu's mother interrupted him. Enough. A stack of documents was thrown in front of Gu's father. Trembling, he opened them to find various photos of him and his childhood sweetheart. Along with a paternity test report for Gu Chaoyang, there was also a divorce agreement inside. Wang Jiangwo, let's get a divorce and part ways amicably. Seeing these concrete proofs, Dad Gu completely lost his composure and tore the divorce agreement to shreds. Yunji, you've been deceived. All of this is fake. I will not agree to a divorce. Don't say these things anymore. I was somewhat speechless, watching him try to linger here and deceive Mother Gu. Mother Gu didn't want to drag it out any longer and directly called for the bodyguards, throwing Father Gu and Gu Chaoyang out. If you don't want a divorce, we'll see you in court. Dad and Gu Chaoyang were kicked out, while Gu Mingyue stood nearby, not daring to speak. Only after Mom went back to her room did she carefully tug at my skirt. Sis, what exactly happened? After I finished telling the story, Gu Mingyue was utterly stunned. She looked at me and murmured to herself. No wonder my brother kept urging me to target you, so that's how it is. She fearfully grabbed my hand. Thank goodness you're back, sis, otherwise, we have no idea how bad things could have gotten. I nodded in agreement, considering the nature of Gu Jiangwo and his son. If they had gotten hold of the company, who knows how they would have treated Gu's mother and Gu Mingyue. After my birthday, I went to join the Gu family's company as arranged, starting from the bottom. As for Dad Gu, after the birthday, Mom Gu replaced him and hired a professional manager to temporarily take his position. On the way to the company, I was kidnapped. Gu Jiangwo and Gu Chaoyang bribed the driver who was taking me and brought me to a remote factory. I was awakened by a basin of water being splashed on me. Seeing me open my eyes, Gu Chaoyang slapped me across the face, then fiercely grabbed my chin, his eyes wild. Gu Xiaoyu, why did you come back? You've ruined all our plans. Gu Jiangwo was even more ruthless, throwing a knife to Gu Chaoyang. Why waste words with her? Just kill her. Once she's dead, you'll be the only heir. Hello, are they treating Gu Mingyue as if she doesn't exist? I was filled with shock and confusion. No, why would you think that if I die, the heir would be Gu Chaoyang? Gu Chaoyang pinched my face, his voice icy cold. I've already called Mom and Mingyue over. After I kill you, they will die too. This way, my dad and I can inherit all of the Gu family's assets. We didn't originally plan it this way. If you want to blame someone, blame yourselves for being too ruthless. He raised the knife, aiming to stab me in the heart. I shouted, wait. With a loud bang, Gu Chaoyang fell to the ground, unwilling to accept his fate. I looked at the hole in his head and sighed. I told you to wait. See, now he's dead. The police quickly surrounded Gu Jiangwo and untied me. Gu Jiangwo's eyes were wide with fury. How could it be? How could it be? How did the police get here so quickly? I shook the electronic watch on my wrist. I already told you, I was often beaten as a child, so I specifically set it up to automatically call the police as soon as I faint. I never expected that the Gu family father and son would commit the crime without disposing of my device. The police followed the location directly and arrived. Gu Jiangwo was sentenced to life imprisonment for attempted murder. Mrs. Gu wasn't idle either. She first sought out Gu Jiangwo's childhood sweetheart to sue for the return of their joint marital savings. Then I filed for divorce. Gu Jiangwo was found to have committed a major fault, so the divorce was granted on the first hearing. When we left the courthouse, Gu's mother hugged me and Gu Mingyue. This time, I finally saved you both. Gu Mingyue and I were completely bewildered, so we could only pat her back to comfort her. Gu's mother wiped away her tears and took our hands. Let's go. I've arranged to meet Xiao Yu's other parents for a meal. Gu Mingyue and I exchanged a glance and obediently replied, all right, for the rest of our lives, let's live well together. After hearing the first story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Next, there is another similar story. Let's continue to see. I am the real daughter in the story of the true and false heiress. The year my biological parents found me, I had the person who loved me most, a good job, and had saved enough money to buy a house in the expensive city of Beijing. So, in the second month after being taken home and bullied, I left without hesitation. I have never been anyone's true heiress. I am simply myself. I am the true heiress in a story of mistaken identities. On the day I was taken back, a heavy snow fell in the capital city. Without an umbrella, I ran home carrying groceries. I stomped my feet at the doorstep to shake off the snow from my shoes, then happily pushed open the door after changing into my puppy-patterned cotton slippers. I'm back. We're having hot pot tonight, I cheerfully called out, only to see the bodyguards in the room and the middle-aged man and woman sitting on the sofa the next second. The two were dressed very richly, sitting in our small rented apartment, making the already cramped space look even more shabby. I was confused and instinctively looked toward Li Yuanyi, who was walking over. Li Yuanyi took the vegetables from my hand and explained to me, these two say they are your biological parents. They came specifically to find you today. I was confused for a while before finally replying politely, oh, I was taken back home because my biological parents had come looking for me. This was the first time in my 28 years that I met my biological parents, and also the first time I was about to ride in a Rolls Royce. Before I left, I repeatedly reminded Li Yuanyi, remember to eat the fish I bought, or it'll go bad by tomorrow. Li Yuanyi nodded silently, urging me to hurry back with the others. This time, it was my turn to nod silently. We didn't speak. I changed my clothes, put on my shoes, and wore a hat. He handed me my bag, stuffing it with money, a phone, a power bank, a charger, and a few small snacks. We walked to the door, and he couldn't help but add, come back soon. I looked up and couldn't hold back a laugh. Got it. Li Yuanyi saw me off to the car. Sitting inside, I waved at him, don't worry, I won't run off with a rich person. He was taken aback, then smiled. My parents sitting beside me choked, looking at each other in silence. After a while, I started to feel drowsy. The car's heating was too strong, and with the busy work, I couldn't resist and dozed off against the window. Vaguely, I heard my mother ask the driver for a blanket. The blanket was placed over me, and I slightly opened my eyes to murmur, thank you. The hand that was helping to cover me with a blanket paused, then tucked the blanket in more snugly around me. The blanket was both light and soft, and I fell into a deeper sleep wrapped in it. The car drove very steadily, passing through the snowy night and entering a bustling villa area. As soon as we entered the villa area, I sat up. There was no other reason. It was just too beautiful here. The garden, the pond, and the artificial hills together formed a scene of flowing water amidst high mountains, with roses covered in snow. It's so beautiful. I couldn't help but ask, can we take photos here? My parents beside me nodded. I raised my phone and snapped a series of photos, then selected a few nice ones to send to Li Yuanyi, along with a message, look, it's so pretty. Just like a tourist spot, let's come here together next time. The message was sent, and within 10 seconds, my phone vibrated. I opened WeChat to see Li Yuanyi's reply. Okay, I calmed my mind, put away my phone, and continued to gaze out the window under the blanket. The car passed through 2 gates, entered the courtyard, and finally stopped in front of a massive villa. But we were stopped before we could even enter. It was a very beautiful girl, truly beautiful. From her attire to her appearance, even in winter, she wore beautiful short skirts. She ran over and pushed me. Why did you bring her back? I'm your daughter. You've raised me for over 20 years, and now that you say I'm not your biological child, you want to bring in a new daughter. Why? I was pushed back 2 steps and realized this was the so-called fake heiress, Ji Jiayan. Don't be rude to your sister. My father spoke up behind me. When Ji Jiayan was scolded, she immediately bristled. Where did I get a sister? If she comes back, I'll run away from home. What's all this talk about a true and false? I'm the only daughter of the Ji family. Ji Jian started arguing with her father. I, however, looked at her and fell into deep thought. After a long time, I couldn't help but ask, "We've met before, haven't we? In September 2014, you came to our county to donate things." Ji Jian clearly didn't remember this incident. In 2014, I was 16, and Ji Jian was also 16. Forced by her family, she came to our impoverished county as a donor, sitting disdainfully at the opening ceremony of our high school. Her father's company donated to our school, and she, as the company's charity ambassador, sat on the high platform. Later, several of us students were called up to the stage, and each of us was given 10,000 yuan. I was completely stunned at the time. It wasn't a signboard that said 10,000 yuan, it was real 10,000 yuan in cash. Sealed in an envelope, heavy in my hands, I still remember how nervous I was, my hands sweating as I held that 10,000 yuan, afraid that I might drop it and someone would snatch it away, but I also remember meeting Ji Jian's gaze and the look of disdain in her eyes. For a little money, you all, like beggars begging for the kindness of the rich, what she scorned became the most precious tuition for my youth. Back then, I didn't dislike Ji Jian. If the wealthy could often show pity, it would be the beginning of good fortune for some. Like me, with that money, I redeemed Li Yuanyi who had been taken away, and later I was able to finish high school smoothly. Later, I was admitted to Peking University with the 7th place in the city. Ji Jian didn't expect me to suddenly bring up such a topic, and she suddenly remembered that poor county she had seen that year. She instinctively frowned in disgust, thinking of the life I had lived, and silently walked into the house. Parents had long grown accustomed to it, only indulgently sighing. After all, before I returned, Ji Jian was the only daughter of the Ji family. She had been extremely pampered since childhood, was beautiful, and at 16. Her parents pushed her into the entertainment industry. Later, she also became the brand image ambassador for the Ji Group. Her image of a beloved daughter and her personal image of a philanthropist became her best tools for promoting the company. She could generate revenue for the company worth over 1 billion yuan annually. This is also the source of Ji Jian's confidence. Even if I were the biological child, my status at home couldn't compare to Ji Jian's, but I didn't mind, after all. I had never expected to find my biological parents one day. That evening we had dinner together, and after dinner, I went back to my room, which was right next to Ji Jian's. Ji Jian seemed a bit disgusted and muttered, "Isn't there any other room? Why do you have to stay right next to me and annoy me?" I pinched the corner of my brow with some, then entered the room. Sometimes I really don't understand Ji Jian. After all, we're both 28 years old. In other words, neither of us is a child. I don't understand why she's targeting me. Only children like to show their strength by bullying others, but I really don't want to deal with it. Better to go to bed early. I have to go to work tomorrow. I had to go to work the next day. As I didn't know how far the Ji family residence was from my workplace, I got up at 6 in the morning, packed my things, and prepared to go to work. My father and mother were still asleep. But the maid saw me up and quickly prepared breakfast for me. After eating, I saw my mother coming downstairs. She looked at me, somewhat surprised. "Why are you up so early?" I explained. "I need to rush to work. Afraid I'll be late." "Oh, right. I forgot about that. Xiao Yuan, where do you work? How's the pay? If you don't like it, you can quit and come to." I hesitated for a moment, then smiled and answered truthfully. "I work in the office in the West District." My mother was a bit surprised. I didn't have many friends around me, and even fewer people who could reveal my information, so before they came to pick me up, they hadn't found out about my job at all. As for my records, they couldn't find them either. They searched for a long time and only managed to locate my address before rushing over, leaving no time to dig deeper into my life. They checked various companies and found no trace of my name. So they instinctively assumed I worked at some street-side convenience store. They recognized me purely out of an instinctive acknowledgement of blood ties, without any other thoughts. They believed that even if I was incapable of anything, keeping me at home wouldn't cost much. And now, hearing about my workplace, they seemed at a loss. In fact, if they had found me in time and investigated further, they might have discovered that I was admitted to Peking University at the age of 17. During university, I passed the central selection for reserve cadres, went to the countryside 4 years ago, was just transferred back last year, and became a full section chief at the beginning of this year. My mother ate in silence. then specifically instructed the driver to choose a low-profile car to take me to work. The driver rummaged through the garage for a long time before finally finding a Volkswagen covered in dust for years. I didn't refuse, as the Lunar New Year approached. Various reports and meetings also increased. During the day, there's no time to go home, and recently, I've been picked up and dropped off by the G family's car, leaving no time to go home at night either. I can only video chat with Lee Yuani using a computer before going to sleep. After just a couple of sentences on the phone, I hear the sound of things being thrown in the next room, calling in the middle of the night. Do you want people to sleep or not? It was Ji Jiayan's voice, Lee Yuani. On the other end of the phone, also heard the sound and paused his hands, which were in the middle of modifying a program, watching myself in the video. What's going on? It's Ji Jiayan. She doesn't like you. I laughed. That's normal, isn't it? Who could accept suddenly becoming a non-biological daughter, especially when she's so pampered? Lee Yuani's fingertips paused slightly as he lowered his eyes and asked, when will you be back? Tomorrow. It's Saturday. Since it's Saturday and I don't have to work, I'll have breakfast and tell my parents I'm going back. They seem to have anticipated it. After all, I'm not 8 years old anymore and can't stay at their place forever. Only Ji Jiayan was a bit surprised. You're leaving, trying to play hard to get, aren't you? Hoping to make mom and dad worry, then have them invite you back. You're kind of petty, low-class tactics. I was getting a bit annoyed. Are you 3 years old or something? As soon as I finished speaking, Ji Jiayan exploded again. Shen Shiyuan, what are you saying? Are you calling me childish? I sighed, pinched the bridge of my nose. That's not what I meant. I don't just think she's childish. I actually think there's something wrong with her brain, like she has the intelligence of a 3-year-old. When I left that day, my mother held my hand and said, Jia Yan has been spoiled by us. Don't take it to heart. I nodded and didn't say anything more. Jia Yan is indeed spoiled. Based on what I know, she's already 28. Yet she still often acts on her own whims and refuses to take responsibility. When someone says anything negative about her, she refuses to participate in anything, forcing that person to resign before she feels satisfied. But her bad temper is undoubtedly the result of my biological parents' spoiling. Unconditional indulgence and always getting her way whenever she throws a tantrum. No wonder she resists my arrival so much. My parents told me not to argue with her, but in reality, if I wanted to argue with her, I'd need the capital to do so. My biological parents never really spent time with me, so our bond is quite weak. Even if we quarrel, I'm the only one who gets scolded. After a week at the Ji household, Ji Jiayan kept finding faults with me, and my parents only ever said a few words at most. By the end of the week, I was utterly exhausted. The Ji family driver dropped me off at the apartment building. As soon as I got home, I threw myself into Li Yuani's arms. The Ji family is very large and wealthy, but it's not my home. As for my home, it should be with Li Yuani. After all, we've been living together for over 20 years. Li Yuani, held by me, bent down and lifted me up in a princess carry. He placed me on the sofa and kissed me. Feeling tired lately, I leaned drowsily against him and nodded, a little. Sometimes I really do long for parental love, but there's always a 28-year gap. They spent 28 years with Ji Jiayan, and I can't expect them to love me the same way they love her. By the end of my words, I hugged Li Yuani's waist and said, but it's okay, I still have you, don't I? Li Yuani held me and kissed my forehead again. I let go of my weariness and fell into a peaceful sleep. Over all these years, I could only sleep soundly when I was with Li Yuani, and counting. I've known Li Yuani for over 20 years. My parents have never asked about my past for such a long time. They might have love, but it's really not much. After all, they don't care at all about what I've been through. They can't abandon Ji Jiayan, and they can never love me without any reservations again. And during those 20+ years they were absent, I've experienced too much and already have a new family. Li Yuani, that year, after I was swapped at the hospital, I was abandoned. The first to pick me up were a young couple who had just gotten married, also my first set of parents. They raised me for 3 years, often forgetting to feed me formula or change my diapers, and frequently left me alone at home. It wasn't until I fell seriously ill at the age of 3, with a persistent high fever, that they began to feel afraid I would die in their home, yet unwilling to pay for my treatment. They abandoned me at the hospital entrance. Perhaps the memory of being discarded was too deeply etched, for I still remember that day, staring at the sky and wondering if I would die. I don't know how long I stayed on the trash can outside the hospital, but eventually, a child picked me up. That child was 8-year-old Lee Yuen. A truly pitiful person. His mother left, and his father drank himself to death. He originally lived with his aunt, but later, his uncle grew tired of him, so he ran away. Then he found me, carried me to the hospital, and said I was sick. When others asked him to pay the fees, he had no money and just sat there dejectedly. Later, a few nurses couldn't bear to see me suffer and pooled their money to pay for my treatment. Once I recovered, it was only natural that I ended up living with Lee Yuen. Lee Yuen lived in the house left behind by his parents. At that time, he was just a little taller than the stove, but having grown up on his own, he skillfully moved a stool to cook rice porridge for me. The rice porridge had chopped cabbage and a little bit of ham sausage added to it, and once it was cooked to a mush, it became my meal, being fed bite by bite. I grew up. By the age of 3 or 4, I was already following Lee Yuen around, picking up scrap. Cardboard went for 7 mao per jean, and plastic bottles for 5 mao per jean. The two of us could earn 20 or 30 yuan a day, enough to get by, and so it went until it was time for school. When I was 7 and hadn't started school yet, Lee Yuen dug out his first grade textbooks to teach me. At that time, Lee Yuen was only 12. He taught me for 3 years. Whenever he had free time, he taught me from first grade textbooks all the way to 6th grade. For the textbooks he didn't have, he would pick them up from the recycling station, and he would also bring me a new extracurricular book every week. He reads once, I read once. From Grimm's fairy tales to the Grave Robbers Chronicles. I don't understand, but it doesn't matter. I don't go to school anyway. Besides studying, reading, and picking up scrap, there's nothing else for me to do. Later, when he turned 14, he found a job washing dishes and sent me to school. I did very well in my studies from the start, because Lee Yuen taught me so well. Lee Yuen was very smart. He could understand the textbooks from 1st to 6th grade just by reading them once, and then he would explain the key points in a simple and clear way. If I really didn't understand, he would let me figure it out on my own. If I managed to grasp it, that was fine. If not, I would copy it down, and after copying it enough times, I would naturally understand. This led to me passing the exams right after starting school and smoothly advancing to the 4th grade. In the early 2000s, school records weren't as strictly managed, so I skipped a grade and entered the 6th grade. I spent 2 years in middle school, ranking first every year. At the time, the rural junior high school I attended wanted to give it a try and sent me, a second-year junior high student, to take the high school entrance exam. I scored first in the entire county and was admitted to the county's top high school. Because I ranked first in the county, the school held an award ceremony for me. When people heard I had no parents, some donated a small amount of money to me. That year, many at the school praised me as a genius. But as I looked at Lee Yuen waiting at the gate, I thought, if I could be considered a genius, then wasn't Lee Yuen one too? After all, he had taught me from 1st to 6th grade. And even after I entered junior high, he still tutored me with my homework every day. But Lee Yuen couldn't go to school. He had to rush to the factory to work on the assembly line. The year I started high school, at 15, someone wanted to adopt me and even found Lee Yuen. I was completely shocked and hid behind Lee Yuen. He tried to pull me out, but I refused, clinging tightly to him and asking the visitors why they wanted to adopt me. They said I had no father or mother, and if they adopted me, I would have a home. I pointed to the house behind me. This is my home. I then pointed to Lee Yuen in front of me. This is my brother. The adoptive parents left, but I clung to Lee Yuen, refusing to let go. He couldn't be bothered to deal with me, letting me hang on him as he went into the kitchen to cook, completely ignoring me. Later, I finally let go and crouched in the corner of the kitchen like a wilted, moldy mushroom, asking him dejectedly, Lee Yuen, you won't abandon me, will you? He said irritably. What do I need you for? You can't be eaten or drunk, and you even take up space just squatting in the kitchen. Let me tell you, the family that's adopting you is rich. You'll have a good life from now on. I wilted even more. I'm not going, Lee Yuen, I'm not going. I wanted to cry, but I felt it wouldn't help, so I looked up at Lee Yuen and told him loudly, Lee Yuen, I'm not going anywhere. Lee Yuen, wait for me to grow up. I'll take care of you for the rest of my life. His hand chopping vegetables paused for a long moment before he continued, shooing me away impatiently. Go to the living room and do your homework. I sat in the narrow living room doing my homework, and whenever I looked up, I could see the 18-year-old Li Yuanyi, slender and tall, wearing an apron and bustling around in the kitchen. I lowered my head and continued with my homework. Although I had refused many people who wanted to adopt me, Li Yuanyi had spent a long time trying to send me away. To that end, he even went to great lengths to track down the first couple who had abandoned me. He then found the hospital where I was born through the words of the first couple who had adopted me. He found information about the child born that year. Coincidentally, there were only 2 girls born in the hospital that day. One was me, and the other was Ji Jiayan. Li Yuanyi took the information he had uncovered and drove me a long distance. For the first time, he brought me to the doorstep of my biological parents' home. We couldn't enter the grand villa. Standing outside the gate, I saw the pampered Ji Jiayan, dressed in the most beautiful clothes and adorned with the most expensive jewelry. Li Yuanyi said that I should have been the one standing there, but I tightly grasped his hand and said, Li Yuanyi, a wealthy family like theirs must have regular health checkups, right? Did they really not know? Do they truly want a daughter raised in the countryside? Li Yuanyi, I'm scared, let's go home. Li Yuanyi's fingertips tightened slightly, and in the end, he took me back. I breathed a sigh of relief, but my peace of mind didn't last long. Li Yuanyi got into trouble. He was helping someone collect a debt and ended up being tied up. It was around that time Ji Jiayan appeared. She was forced by her family to assist in a poverty-stricken county, and I received that 10,000 yuan. I was very grateful to her. Later, I saved Li Yuanyi. That day, I held the unconscious Li Yuanyi in my arms. That day, holding Li Yuanyi, I thought about a lot, but then the sky brightened, and Li Yuanyi woke up. That incident passed, and my first year of high school came to an end. The high school I attended had a key class, but even in a key class, there were still gossip and comics. In our second year of high school, romance novels became all the rage in class, with everyone discussing various male protagonists and the popular celebrities of the time. My desk mate asked me, Chen Shiyuan, what kind of guy do you like? I thought for a moment and answered seriously, I like someone who's good at studying, wealthy, good-looking, and preferably with a slim waist. My desk mate exclaimed, you know exactly who you like. I was shocked that she had guessed it, and I couldn't help but blush. I warned her, don't talk nonsense. My desk mate nodded seriously. My lips are sealed. In the end, the whole class knew I had a crush on the class monitor, Fan Yun. Fan Yun confidently came over to confess to me. I was silent for a long time, and finally tried to explain. You're not the person I like. Fan Yun was puzzled. I'm second in the whole school. My family is wealthy with over a dozen properties, and I'm not good looking. I didn't know how to explain for a moment and could only numbly refuse. I'm sorry. Later, I thought about it. What I meant by liking someone who studies well is that they can tutor me. What I meant by liking someone with money is that they can take care of my meals. And what I meant by liking someone good-looking is that I like them. These conditions are not actually conditions. They are essentially just one person. But I need to study hard first. I said I would support Li Yuanyi for a lifetime. When I was little, I loved calling Li Yuanyi brother, and I still did even in my teens. Brother, where are my socks? Bro, where's my book? Bro, have you seen my pen? Bro, I don't know how to solve this problem. Bro, I'm hungry. But as adolescence arrived, I gradually stopped calling him brother, and instead started saying, Li Yuanyi, I'm hungry, make me something to eat. Li Yuanyi, I don't know how to do this, help me with my homework. Li Yuanyi, I want this, buy it for me. Li Yuanyi wanted to hit me several times, but seeing me buried in a pile of assignments, he thought I was having a tough time. In the end, all I could do was grit my teeth in frustration, angrily waving a feather duster as a warning. Chen Shiyuan, you'd better get into a good university in the college entrance exam. This situation continued until after the college entrance exam. By the time I finished the exam, I had gained a full circle of weight, while Li Yuanyi had lost a full circle. While waiting for the results, he was even more anxious than I was, to the point where he had to take anti-anxiety medication just to fall asleep. Later, I discovered those pills and took them to his company to confront him. Li Yuanyi, what on earth are you thinking? Are you so anxious that you need to take medication? At that time, Li Yuanyi had worked hard for several years and become a sales manager for a medical equipment company. He looked at me, opened his mouth only to close it again, and finally shook his head dejectedly. Chen Shiyuan, I'm afraid I won't be able to provide for you well, and your future won't be good either. Actually, when you were in elementary school, there were people who wanted to adopt you, but I refused. Your teacher came to me several times, and I turned them down every time, Chen Shiyuan. But sometimes I wonder, if you were in someone else's home, with a father and a mother, maybe you could live a better life. After all, I'm already unwanted myself. Why should I drag you down with me, Li Yuani? I have someone who wants me, and you have someone who wants you. If you send me away, neither of us will have anyone. I will do well in the exams. I told you, I want to take care of you for a lifetime, Li Yuani. I never lie. Li Yuani smiled, leaning tiredly on the sofa, pinching the bridge of his nose with a smile, leaning back. He exposed his long neck, but I noticed a white hair by his ear. I suddenly leaned in, and he looked puzzled, only to hear me say, Li Yuani, you have a white hair. I knelt beside him with one leg, and he obediently turned his head, allowing my fingertips to slip into his hair. The moment the white hair was plucked out, he frowned slightly, which I caught from above. I turned my eyes and said, Li Yuani, don't move. There's one more. After saying that, he didn't move. I raised my hand to cover his eyes and gave him a loud kiss on the cheek. He didn't react in time. I darted away like a nimble monkey, letting out a series of sinister, hee laughs. Because I kissed Li Yuani, he gave me the cold shoulder for a long time, after returning home and finishing cooking. He would retreat to his room and not come out. After washing clothes, he would sit on the balcony smoking, turning away and leaving as soon as he saw me, even frowning unconsciously at the sight of me. I tried to coax him with a playful smile, this time not calling his name, just pulling on him and cooing, Gugij. He became even more displeased, until one day, he woke up to find himself bound by me. I pinned him to the bed. Forgive me quickly, or else, Li Yuani, you know the consequences. And then he forgave me. I had thought he would put up a desperate fight. Instead, he just said lightly, I forgive you. He shattered all my fantasies with a single word of forgiveness, and I resignedly let him go, dragging myself to eat. When he came out and saw my dejected appearance, he asked me a rare question, what exactly do you want? I immediately got excited and pulled out my phone to share with him. Look at this part. It's like, you're tied up by me, and then you refuse me, and then I. Chen Shiyuan, you're sick. You're not sick. Then why did you adopt me? If you're not sick, why do you control me so strictly every day? You even check my phone every day. If you're not sick, you've read all the novels I've read too. His face turned completely red. Chen Shiyuan, shut up. I'm doing it for your own good. I know, I understand, but you can still do it for my own good now. 10 years have passed in the blink of an eye. I've gone from 18 to 28. I never thought that one day my birth parents would find me. I stayed with my birth parents for a week, and when I returned home, Li Yuani was clearly acting strange. He was sullen and vague, his thoughts unclear, as if he was preoccupied with something. My birth parents often came to visit me. They suggested I continue staying at Ji's house, but I refused to go back. They vaguely knew it was because of Ji Jiayan, yet they were also a bit annoyed that I wanted to compete with her. Resenting my refusal to be more obedient, although they didn't say these words directly, their implications were clear. I should yield to Ji Jiayan. They said Ji Jiayan was just a child with a bit of a temper, and it would take some time for her to accept things. As long as I go back, with time, Ji Jiayan will definitely understand and accept me. I find it amusing, understanding, acceptance, letting me return to be treated like a beast of burden by Ji Jiayan. Waiting for the day she tires of bullying me and mercifully lets me go. I think I'll pass. When they saw that I refused to return, they seemed somewhat remorseful and transferred me a sum of money, also sending someone to deliver many items. After Ji Jiayan found out, she came to my place twice, but Li Yuani shut the door in her face each time before she could even enter. In truth, Li Yuani didn't like my parents, and he didn't like anyone who wanted to take me away, yet, he acted magnanimous. And when my parents first came, he urged me to go back with them to visit. When I actually left for a week, he drank alone at home, brooding. Only when I said I was coming back did he perk up. He was afraid I would leave, yet stubbornly let me go time and again, probably because of a line from a book. Forced love never wins true heart. Let her go, and when she chooses to return, then she is truly yours. I've always enjoyed forced romance stories, and I never paid attention to that line. But Li Yuani, who stole a glance at my phone, remembered it and etched it into his mind. He tested me several times throughout the year, but when I really left, he wasn't happy about it. Yet, Li Yuanyi also had some sincerity. He genuinely wished I had loving biological parents, so whenever my parents came, he welcomed them. One day, my parents brought up the topic of my marriage, saying they wanted to introduce me to someone. Li Yuanyi's face turned pale in an instant. He glared at the glass tabletop with a dark expression, and I struggled to suppress my laughter. My parents naively believed that Li Yuanyi was just an ordinary boyfriend of mine. Not only did they talk about introducing me to someone in front of him, but they also mentioned it to me in private. My mother held my hand. Xiao Yuan, Mom knows it hasn't been easy for you in the past. You've worked hard to rise to the position of section chief on your own merit, but Xiao Yuan, you can't waste your life. A man like that has no future. With the Ji family's backing, you can find someone better, someone who can support you in your career. I laughed and pushed her hand away. Aunt Ji, you're joking. The things you gave me before, I'll return them to you, and the money. Please don't transfer any more to my cards secretly. I'm a public servant. It's illegal for me to accept money from you, someone who isn't a relative. My mother froze, her face pale. Xiao Yuan, what do you mean? Are you abandoning your mother, your father, and I? We both love you. My father also frowned. Xiao Yuan, don't be willful. Your father and mother are your biological parents. I looked up. Mr. G, there are some things I need to clarify. Illegally obtaining my genetic test results is against the law. I have no parents, never had, and never will. Ji Shiyuan, my father had probably never been this angry before. His voice was extremely stern. I am your biological father. Are you going to oppose me, Mr. G? I have no parents, before, now, or in the future. Li Yuanyi and I grew up together, and he is the only one I have. So it's that man. Aren't you afraid he'll ruin your life? My father said this in a rather gloomy tone, with a hint of menace. I pondered their words, that Li Yuanyi had ruined my life. Yes, you're right. It's all Li Yuanyi's fault. He ruined my life. If it weren't for him, I wouldn't have been switched at birth. If it weren't for him, you wouldn't have indulged Ji Jiayan so much, letting her curse at me every day. If it weren't for him, I wouldn't have been forced by you to find a partner. You're right. It's all his fault. Xiao Yuan, that's not what we mean. Mom and Dad also know we haven't done enough. But you have to give us time. Give us a chance. I'm doing just fine. You should go back. For some reason, my mom suddenly started crying, as if her heart was aching. Xiao Yuan, Mom and Dad are sorry for you. Come home with us. Even if you don't want to go back, you should at least know who will inherit the money after we're gone. Yet there was a hint of insincerity in it. I took a step back, looked at them, and suddenly laughed. I have a home, I have money, I earn 17,000 a month, and Li Yuanyi runs a small program company. He's got money too, don't worry. I waved goodbye, but when I turned around, I saw Li Yuanyi standing right behind me. His face was no longer pale at all, and the smile on his face was impossible to hide. I approached, and he took my hand. Are you cold? I shook my head. I'm burning up, right now. I feel like I'm the heroine of a passionate drama. Forget the story of the true and false heiresses. If I'm going to be anything, I'll be the heroine of a passionate drama. I want to strive. I want to improve. I want to save the world. How will you save it? I'm going to assist farmers in impoverished mountainous areas next month. Come with me, we'll work to eliminate poverty and narrow the wealth gap. In the future, I want everyone to be able to live in villas like the Ji families, or for no one to live in them at all. We don't need their charity. We deserve it. Li Yuanyi laughed. That's quite the dream. While others were celebrating the new year, Li Yuanyi and I were still conducting research in the countryside. In fact, over the years, whenever Li Yuanyi and I had time, we would go to the countryside to conduct research. Donating money and goods is ultimately only a temporary solution. True liberation from poverty is what lasts forever. But I never expected to run into Ji Jiayan here. She was here to donate supplies according to plan, all to polish her positive image. However, the moment she saw me, she exploded. What on earth did you do? Mom and Dad froze my card. It must be because you said something to them. So what if you're the real daughter, Ji Shiyuan? Just you wait. But she didn't get to finish, as I cut her off. First of all, my name isn't Ji Shiyuan, my surname is Chen Shiyuan. The surname Chen comes from my elementary school teacher, who never married or had children in her lifetime. She registered me under her name, and I will carry the surname Chen for the rest of my life. Ji Jiayan frowned. What do you mean? My meaning is very simple. Don't be afraid. I won't take your parents away. But Ji Jiayan, you've been spoiled by your parents all your life, and you yourself feel that way too, don't you? You can't communicate properly with others, so you resort to throwing tantrums and breaking things to control others. Fortunately, you have wealthy parents who can't live without you. And they can tolerate your behavior without limits. Everyone else will also tolerate your behavior, but you know you can't live without your parents, so you're afraid of my presence, yet you're powerless, only able to throw tantrums and belittle me in an attempt to drive me away and keep your parents' love for yourself. Ji Jiayan was stunned, but still instinctively retorted, what are you talking about? My parents love me very much. It's because of your appearance that my parents. Ji Jiayan, don't always wait for others to give you love. Your abilities, dreams, and self-love are far more important than that illusory sense of being loved. The new year has arrived, and Li Yuanyi and I have finally saved enough money to buy a small house outright. Our little house is really small, just 69 square meters, but I didn't want to overburden myself with a mortgage. I enjoy taking control of my life with a plan, rather than being controlled by life itself. Just like the past decade and more of my life, I've worked towards goals, planned to win, and left room to achieve my dreams. This is my life, and it's the life I want. But soon, Ji's parents came again, this time not as radiant as last time. They had lost a lot of weight, as if troubled by something. It wasn't until the end of the meal that they said, the company's new project has been halted due to an accident, and now the overall deficit is too severe, and the accounts have been audited. I shook my head. There are fears I cannot help you with. Everything has its natural order. No one remains wealthy forever, and no one remains poor forever. Under the currents of time, both you and I should follow the direction of development. But that's the fruit of 40 years of my hard work. Mr. Ji wept. I patted him on the shoulder and poured him a cup of tea to comfort him. People always find it hard to let go, especially when it comes to wealth. But how much money is ever enough? Actually, I was quite poor when I was a child, but Li Yuanyi always took good care of me. I marveled at his meticulous planning and then lamented how nice it would be to have money in the future. He pinched my cheek and said, it's just different ways of living for different people. After all, we're all just living. Back then, I thought it was just self-consolation, but it wasn't until I grew up that I truly understood his words. After all, we're all just living. The money he gave me, I naturally accepted, but if the money meant giving up Li Yuanyi and marrying someone else, then taking the money would be meaningless. There are always things in this world more important than money. For example, the man I swore to support for a lifetime, Li Yuanyi, extra, Li Yuanyi. Chen Shiyuan started saying she would support me for life when she was 12, and she kept saying it for over a decade. Now she's 28, and the money she spends is still mine. I cook, I do the housework. I earn the money, and the house and car are all from my savings. I guess I'm stuck with Chen Shiyuan for life. A business partner once asked me why I work so hard. I almost laughed out loud, and in fact, I did. I have a little pea show at home that needs money to raise. Chen Shiyuan started spending money from the moment I brought her back. She was malnourished when I first brought her home, very prone to illness. Every time she got sick, I would kneel at the hospital entrance with her in my arms. There were always kind-hearted people at the hospital who would take me and Chen Shiyuan to pay for the medical bills. There were always malicious people who would kick me as they passed by. I remained silent, bowing my head to those who walked by, begging them to save my sister. Chen Shiyuan was kept under medication for over half a year. Later, when Chen Shiyuan got much better, she started going with me to pick up trash. I would pick up trash in front, and she would run behind me. When she got tired, she would lie down on the ground and refuse to get up no matter what. When she got tired and lay there, I would drag her to the grass in the park. She fell asleep, and I fell asleep too. Later, when she woke up, she hugged me and cried, "Brother, don't die." People around were drawn in, turning to look, and amidst the crowd's murmurs, I sat up expressionlessly. The passers-by left, and Chen Shiyuan continued to follow me with a cheerful smile, pulling my hand as we walked. "Brother, can we have ice cream today?" "No, there isn't any, don't eat." Her tears were about to fall, and she wiped her eyes again. She always looked so pitiful, and in the end, I still bought her an ice pop. After hearing the 2 stories above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Looking forward to hearing from you. If you liked this story, don't forget to like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.